Okay, we're now recording. I've been out of the habit of recording live workshops because there's a lot of people who will register for a workshop and think, well, I won't attend, I'll just catch the recording. And so I've stopped doing that in order to incentivize attendance,
Nice.
because really the big benefit is being here and doing the work together. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're actually going to be writing calls to action together. And so I'm going to go through a brief agenda so you know what to expect. We're going to talk about calls to action and what they are and how they work. And we're going to be watching some videos, videos that I've created in the past, short videos that describe the ins and outs of calls to action and demonstrate some of the best calls to action that I've found out on the internet. We're also going to be going through more examples of calls to action, and I'll share my screen and share some of the best calls to actions with you that we can use as models in writing our own calls to action. And I'll be providing you with a Google Doc workbook that we'll use in this workshop today to work on the calls to action for our own offers and things that we want people to do. And so what I'd like to do now is I'd like to sketch out, where are the holes that you need to fill right now? Where's the piece of your platform that you want to work on today? So Moran, start us off. Do you have an idea of what you want to work on in this workshop?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess I have launched yesterday what we call a cluster patient. It's this product. And I realized that for the life of me, I give a lot and then I don't know how to basically put any call to action. So I've got a Facebook post that is ready to work tonight, Sydney time. I think it's pretty good, but there's no call to action. So I would like to work on that. And then generally speaking, just to understand call to action better, so I can add it to my website and other material that I'm creating.
Great, thank you for sharing. Awesome. Patience, how about you? What do you want to work on today in today's workshop?
Well, I do use a few calls to action, but never sure. I think most of the time is about really understanding what the impact of that is. I've gotten used to using just a few, like sign up with me in comments, or you know. So it would be nice, or sign up for this. So it would be nice to probably go a little bit more deeper, because with all these things, when it comes to copywriting, there is a psychological element to it that gets people to take action. And that is probably my hope, is that I'll pick some of those things as time goes on. Yeah.
Great, excellent. Yeah, I've got a couple of PDFs where I upsell from a lead magnet, and I wrote the calls to action a couple of years ago, and so that's what I want to work on today. During our writing times, I'm going to set a timer so that we can write together, and during those times I'm going to be working on the ends of my PDFs and the ends of my Google Docs. I want to rewrite all those calls to action. So we're going to be doing some show and tell, where we share what we worked on during these writing breaks and then get feedback from one another on things that resonate and really work, and things that can be improved. Sound good? Great. All right, well, we are going to start with a video from my Cornerstone workbooks. I'm writing this book called Marketing Yourself, and the companion course in the Cornerstone workbooks has 16 different workbooks in it. And each of these workbooks has a 5-minute video. And what I'd like to do is to play this 5-minute video so that we can see what a call to action is and how it works. And for some reason, this is not showing my YouTube player, even though it did this morning when I got everything set up. Let me try again. There's the video. Okay, great. All right, this video is 7 minutes long. A call to action is a button that you press quickly. It's just a commercial invitation to do business. It's when we try to force a buying decision into a call to action that selling becomes uncomfortable. My name's Caelan Huntress. I help independent business owners get over their fear of selling by deciding what to do in advance. A call to action is like a party invitation. You've probably received an invitation to a party or a wedding or an event, and maybe you've seen those little RSVP cards where you send back a note that says whether or not you will attend. That's a call to action. It doesn't need to convince or persuade. Its only purpose is to clearly present the necessary details and articulate the next step if you want to move forward. Your calls to action should be just as clear. For many people, there's an internal resistance to selling because they don't want to seem sleazy. So they don't sell, which means they don't have revenue, and they freak out about money and create more resistance to selling. Instead of avoiding the sales conversation altogether, what you can do is make your sales process clean by separating the buying decision from the call to action. The way I do it is I devote my marketing on influencing the buying decision and my selling on the call to action. If you want to know why you should do business with me, that's marketing. That's this outer circle. That's where people make a buying decision. I want you to have that decision already made by the time I start selling to you. So when I'm giving you a call to action, I'm not simultaneously trying to convince you. Each of these circles has a border between them. Between sales and service, there's a very specific border there. Someone has to take action to become a customer. They pay you some money. That's how you cross the border between sales and service. And there's a similar distinction between marketing and sales. There's some voluntary action that someone takes when they're ready to enter a commercial conversation. For my digital marketing agency, Stellar Platforms, that's requesting a consultation. You fill out a form on my site and schedule an appointment with me. If you don't take those actions, I don't give you a call to action. I focus on persuading you to take the step to the inner circle. Keep that separate. For people you're selling, use a simple phrase that's pre-rehearsed and isn't weighted down with all of your emotional baggage. Your call to action shouldn't be improvised. This is the clear invitation to do business with you. The pretty little RSVP card. I have a bunch of example calls to action and formulas that you can use to create your own in my call to action workbook. To use the call to action workbook, you're going to go to File, Make a Copy in the upper left-hand corner. Look, there's something in caps. I'm going to delete that. Don't delete the CTA. We want to keep that, but then put your name at the beginning, make a copy. If you try typing in the Google Doc itself, it's going to say you need permission, but don't hit the share button in the upper right hand corner. Follow these instructions right here on the top. Go to File, Make a Copy. All right. Now you can do this multiple times. You can use a fresh copy for each offer. So if you have multiple offers, then you can make multiple copies for all of them. So this first one is a warm-up. You're going to double click on the title and just write your title. And if you have more than one, you just hit enter and then list all of them. But it's best to use individual copies of this workbook for each offer. Write out the number one most compelling reason to buy. And this might change, and you can paste this later from something that comes up later, comes up further down. What I like doing for these numbered lists is to highlight it and do problem 1, problem 2. And you can just hit enter and keep going until you get to 10, okay? Do the same thing with outcomes. Delete all of this and just do thing 1, thing 2, thing 3. Look at that, I got an extra. Same thing with benefits. You're just writing the bullet lists. Churn these out. There's a writer named James Altucher, and he makes lists of 20. Because, you know, lots of times you can get to 10 on pretty much any kind of list. But getting to 12 is a little harder. By the time you get to 15, you're really stumped. And by 18, you're really digging in there, but you've already found some gold. And I've tested this myself, and sometimes if I push to 20 and I want to make a list of 20 of anything, then I'll find some really incredible things that I didn't find in the first 10. Okay? Now, after the warm-ups, what I want you to do is write a list of keywords that people would search to find your solution. Write a list of headlines. You can even copy and paste these from other people and make a swipe file here. And then we've got some formulas. These formulas, you just double click from what you wrote about. What's the outcome they want? Lose weight without dieting. Boom. Want to know how to lose weight without dieting. Top 3 strategies for earning more money, spending less time at work, and enjoying your job in just 60 seconds a day. These formulas, you can just double click on these words and you've got a formula. There's fill in the blank lists down here for headlines, for subject lines, and for ad copy. And I've got a whole bunch of other stuff down here. This is my swipe file. I use this all the time. So you're welcome to use it because I'm hoping that this helps you give better calls to action. So now you've got 2 options. You can put this Google Doc in your drive with the well-meaning intention to do something with it someday, or you could do it right now. If you want to stop. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do it right now. I'm going to paste the link for this call to action workbook into the chat box. And what I'd like you to do is to make a copy of this Google Doc. So in the upper left-hand corner, it's going to say File, and then that'll give you a drop-down menu where you can go to Make a Copy. And that copy you can edit, but you can't edit the template that we're linking here in the chat box. And so after you have your own copy, I'd like you to give me a thumbs up in Zoom, either through the Reactions tab or just show me in your camera, whatever's easiest. Oh, you're on mute, Patience. Feel free to leave yourself off mute if you like.
No, I'm just saying I think the heat wave has fried my computer. I don't know why it's not responding. So it's a bit slow. I apologize. I'll be a minute. Okay.
Great. Moran's got it.
Okay. Got it.
You got it. Great. Okay. Great. So now that we've got it open, let's come on back to Zoom. We're going to be using this workbook to do our copywriting. And so I'm going to set a timer in just a moment so that we can go through, do the double clicking, start writing bullet lists. But before we dive into writing time, I want to ask a question. What's the outcome you want this workbook to give you?
Davin?
Yeah, Moran.
Yeah, I would like to have a winning call to action, and then we'll have people calling me to ask questions about my program.
Great, great. That's the outcome we're aiming for, is having people call you to ask questions about the program.
Yeah. I want to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They want to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Great, great. Patience, what about you?
Similar. I would want a call to action or 2 that I can use to get people to definitely take one form of action or the other. Either call me, buy something straight away without calling me.
Great.
Or, yeah. Or DM me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, so for this first writing sprint, let's focus on the first page. Or I'm sorry, it's the second page after the table of contents. It's the one that starts CTA copywriting warm-ups. Write a list of things that you want to write calls to action for. There might be things beyond today's workshop. But things that you know you're selling that you need to work, just go ahead and write it all down. You can't write too much right now.
So Caelan, it doesn't have to be polished like what we're working on. Is that what it is?
No, does not have to be polished. This is first draft material.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of times in copywriting, writing bad first drafts in volume is a lot more important than getting a polished sentence. So we're not looking to get it perfect. We're looking to get a lot of it. Keep writing, even if it feels bad, even if it feels like, oh, this is junk, just do another revision and start it again and try it again. So I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. And then at the end of the timer, we'll come back and share.
Caelan, just so I'm clear, so we're doing the first page?
There's enough on the first page,
Mm-hmm.
the benefits, the outcomes, that you can spend 15 minutes there.
Right.
Sometimes I spend a half hour there just on the first page. So I'd like you to focus on the first page, but if you want to scroll down a little bit and play with some of the other things, feel free.
Okay.
But I do want to make it clear that the more time you spend on this first page, the easier the future pages are going to be.
Cool. Thank you.
Great.
So can I ask a question? Are you saying just the first question, or every single question we're answering there?
This workbook is going to be used the way that you find it best. This is a choose your own adventure. So start with the first bullet list of services to sell, write down things that are in your value ladder, anything that you're going to need a call to action for. And then the number one most compelling reason to buy, that might change. Just write one thing that you can edit later. Move on to the problems and pain points, the outcomes, the benefits, and just brain dump. Get as much as you can in those bullet lists.
Okay.
And I'll put on some music as we work. Don't like the music? when you're ready, let's come on back to Zoom. How was that?
Good, 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 good. I I have to say I'm a bit blurry as to how to distinguish or make a distinction between outcomes and benefits. They sound a little bit like the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the reasons I like having both of them in this exercise is because they do overlap.
Mm-hmm.
But I see benefits as distinguished from features. Like the features are the things that are in it, and benefits are what you get. But then outcome is future based.
Right.
The benefit can happen during the program or during the sales process or during the investigation. You know, just by investigating what it would be like to do business with you, people can articulate what their problems are. But it's the solving of those problems that happens in the outcome.
Got it. Yeah.
Anybody feel?
I had the same challenge with the pain points, problems and pain points. I wasn't sure whether there was a differentiation in that sense.
Yeah, great question. The problem is often what's going wrong, and the pain point is where or when that happens.
Okay.
So I have a problem that I can't get to work, but my pain point is my car won't start.
Can you say this again, Caelan? So
yeah,
your
please.
problem,
Yeah.
your problem is that you can't get to work, but the pain point is that the car wouldn't start. It's not the other way around.
Fixing the pain point enables you to solve the problem.
Love it. Okay.
Pain points are really tiny, and you can identify them in time and space. Whereas problems are broad, they're abstract. And there might be multiple pain points that are all due to one overarching problem.
That is very clear distinction. Thank you for that.
But so that means the problem is I can't get to work, or the problem is my car is broken. Oh. So the pain point is I can't get to work, or which one is which? I wasn't really.
Yeah, so the problem is I can't get to work. The pain point, the reason why I can't get to work is because my car won't start. There's other solutions that could get me to work. I can take a bus, I can hitchhike, I can get there, but that pain point is still going to be there. So even if you solve the problem, that pain point might not go away.
Okay. Yeah.
Great questions. I know this gets a little pedantic, but this distillation of language, this is what we need to find those few words that are going to incite someone to take action. And that action that we request, it might change. So now I'd like to go back into writing for 5 more minutes. How did we feel about the music? Is the music a good thing or a bad thing? Music's good?
It's okay.
Okay, great. Then I'll do music again. And we're going to spend another 5 minutes on these same lists. If you haven't started on the features and benefits, you know, go ahead and write some things in there. But you might want to just keep going on these first lists, because the longer that you dig in these lists, the more gold that you're going to find. Okay. All right, now I'm going to do the timer differently so that I can play music from a different program.
Can I ask a question? You
Sure.
you put 1 and 2, and I'm a bit confused. So write a list of at least 10 specific outcomes the customer will be able to achieve. It's the same question, but you just split it into two. Is it? Basically, you're saying 10 things, and they have to be specific outcomes the customer will achieve. That's all.
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
that there is, yeah, okay.
This is just for brainstorming. There's no right or wrong answer here. We're just getting a lot of ideas down.
Okay.
Wrap it up in about 10 seconds. Okay, next what I'd like to do is I'd like to take a little physical break. So I'm going to invite you to turn your cameras off and to stand up. I'm going to keep my camera on just to demonstrate a little bit what we're going to do. I want you to stand and shake. Bounce up and down. This is all you're going to do. Shake all the tension out. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Take another deep breath in. And exhale. One more deep breath in. And exhale everything out. And now I want you to reach up. Reach up, breathe in as deep as you can. And drop your arms down. We're going to do that 2 more times. Breathe in as you come up. Deep, 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 deep. And then breathe everything out. 1 more time. We're going to reach up. And exhale. Great. Have a seat. Copywriting can be difficult. It gets you tense. You know, you're in your lab and you're doing stuff. And so that's why it's important to take these breaks just to get your breathing flowing, get the tension out of your body. So we've done a lot of warm-up exercises. How do they feel? Did you hit any resistance?
Resistance in terms of like putting stuff on the page?
Yeah.
No resistance for me.
Good. Okay, what we're going to do next is we're going to start looking at formulas. We're going to do some examples. And I'm going to share with you some of the different ways that people have used copywriting in the past in order to create compelling calls to action. So this page that I'm going to share with you here, I'm going to put in the chat box. I refer to this all the time. These are all of the best copywriting formulas. The author is a well-known copywriter, and it's a very, very long page. I'm not going to do the whole page with you today, but what I want to focus on for today is this one formula, AIDA. This is a well-known copywriting formula that has 4 points: attention, interest, desire, and action. These are the 4 components of the formula, and you can use this formula just about anywhere. You can use it in a newsletter, you can use it on a sales page, you can use it on a social media post. This simple formula frames out everything that leads up to a good call to action. And there's an example here from Moz, and Moz is a SEO tool. It's not letting me zoom in on here. There we go. Okay, so what Moz Pro does is they start with attention. Drive more traffic to your site. Interest, some things that'll get you interested. Desire, they touch the button on what you're going to desire. And then the action, their call to action here, start my free 30-day trial. You know exactly what you're getting when you hit that button. It's not vague. It's not trying to influence your buying decision. The call to action is just, this is what you need to do to take the next step. And that's what we're going to get to. But it takes these other steps to get there. So some of the copywriting that we're doing, these exercises helping us frame out the benefits and the outcomes and the problems and the pain points, this is all great stuff for the first 3 steps of the formula, for the attention, the interest, and the desire. Landing on the right action is often done with something called micro copy. And micro copy is defined in this article with Adobe. And as I go through all of these different resources, I'm going to paste them in the chat. And then at the end of today's workshop, I'll remind you to download the chat so that you have all of these links. And what microcopy is, according to Adobe, is these 4 things. brevity, context, action, and authenticity. These 4 components create a good call to action. Brevity, it's got to be short. Context, it's got to be within a larger frame of communication. Action, it's got to make you do something. And authenticity. If you use a call to action to fake someone out, they're not going to trust you. And they're going to be completely knocked out of your buying circle. So all 4 of these are important. And there's a website here with a lot of different examples called microcopy.me. What microcopy.me does is it gives you a lot of variety in microcopy. You know, you can click on one of these buttons at the top to see just the headlines. 9 disgusting facts about Thanksgiving. Kind of want to click and see what are those disgusting facts. But wait, there's more. Makes you want to do something. If you buy now, I'll be sending you another mystery bonus as a token of appreciation. This is a wonderful place to go when you're looking for inspiration. Fire your boss. It's intriguing. It makes you want to know more. These headlines are they're the context for your call to action. You don't really get a good call to action without context, without a headline, without the attention, the interest, and the desire. So what we're doing today in making calls to action is going to be framed by the other parts of this formula. So now I'll share with you a couple of examples. But before I jump into examples, any questions about anything that we've covered so far? Any insights you want to share? Okay, great. We'll just keep going. All right. So this is a handstand tutorial by Gold Medal Bodies. Gold Medal Bodies is they create online courses for people who want gymnastics training at home. They train people to get gold medal bodies, and this is their handstand tutorial. Now, as I scroll down, you notice up here at the top, try a free session. That call to action is still there, and it stays with us all the way down. Try a free session tells you exactly what you're going to do. Before we get into this very long tutorial, they have this email subscription widget with "Let's do it." It's a little different than just subscribe.
Sorry, Caelan, I can't see anything, or is it me?
Oh, I'm sharing. Geez, I'm sharing the wrong window. My apologies. Terribly sorry about that.
Where is he seeing this?
This is the website for Gold Medal Bodies. Thank you for flagging that, Patience. I appreciate that. I would have felt even dumber if I had just kept on doing it. So you saved my bacon. Thank you. So Gold Medal Bodies has very long tutorials. That's what they're known for. It's a lot of material for people who want to exercise their physical frame. And they've got try a free session right up here at the top. And if you scroll down, it's a sticky header so that try a free session is always going with you as a call to action. Now, if I wanted to subscribe to their newsletter right here, it doesn't just say subscribe. It doesn't say send me the PDF. It says let's do it. It really aligns with the type of person in this demographic. Somebody who's getting ready to do a handstand. Okay, let's do it. That's exactly something they would say. And the last call to action that I want to share with you is in this video. We're going to watch the first 30 seconds of this video. See if you can spot the call to action.
When working through your handstand session, we'll be using the 5P framework. Now, the 5P framework is where we're looking at prep, practice, play, push, and ponder. Now, for every session, you're going to start off with your prep work. This is basically just making sure that you're good and ready to start working on the handstand, no matter your level. This could be wrist warm up, shoulder warm up.
Did you see it? That call to action right there? Get the goods. there's some personality in here that aligns with their target market. Now, I'll go ahead and I'll pop this into the chat box as well. This one is really fun. If you want to inject personality into your calls to action, the Middle Finger Project has a real definable personality. This is the project from Ash Amberjay. She's a copywriter out of Philadelphia who became a digital nomad, and she lived in Costa Rica the same time I did. I think she's in Chile right now. She travels all around, and she has a really big blog with a large following because her personality is everywhere. This is the most boring call to action I've ever seen her use. Subscribe me. Most of her calls to action are in alignment with her brand. Like if we go to her book, the Middle Finger Project book that she wrote, she just migrated her website, so it's taken a while to load. Follow your passion unless you're a serial killer. It's quirky, it's fun, and this is her personality. Now, it doesn't work for everybody, and she uses this as an intentional filter. She does not want normies to work with as clients. So the type of people who are more buttoned down and they don't want something out of the ordinary, they look at this and they think, oh, I can't work with someone like this. But the people who love her adore her. She's found a way to really focus her copy to the types of people. I'm contacting you because I'd like to proposition you. There's some normal things. I have a question about your book. I can't even make grilled cheese right now. Amy Poehler sent me. All of these fun little weird things in here are part of her brand. And so I share this with you as an example of what you can use if you want to push the boundaries. If it's in alignment with your audience and they would resonate with it, then consider going too far in the direction of your audience. Okay. So to get to the next set of examples, I'm going to share with you a video from the Marketing Automation Planner. And this is one of my online courses where I talk about headlines and calls to action and how they interact with one another. And so this video is 7 minutes long, and it's got a bunch of examples in here of different calls to action that can be used. Hello, this is Caelan Huntress, and we're in lesson 2 of module 1 for the Marketing Automation Planner, where we're going to talk about headlines and calls to action. In this video, you'll learn how to write a great headline for your opt-in page so you can capture the email addresses of your visitors. Your headline is the very top of your funnel, and it really has to wow people in the first few seconds. Your headline should clearly describe the benefit of subscribing to your newsletter. That's it. Your headline's not the place to be cute or metaphorical or abstract. Subscribe now to get this thing. Solve this problem in X number of days. Compare this to relocate your sense of danger along the continuum of the new life awaiting you once you read my masterwork as thanks for subscribing to my missive. Who would subscribe to that? Clarity comes before cleverness. If you're not clear, there's no room to be clever. Studies show that the average modern consumer is exposed to more than 5,000 marketing messages every single day. To stand out from that noise, you need to create a clear headline that grabs attention, especially with calls to action. The CTA is what's written on your button, and it should be simple. Subscribe, get now, opt in, download. Don't be clever on the button. Just make it clear. If you've already skipped ahead to the templates and tools section, you've seen the CTAs and the headlines from the 10 homepages I profile there. But if you haven't gotten there yet, here's a teaser. Look at these 10 headlines. I want to help you get happy, thin, and free. Become a pro blogger. 300+ million episodes downloaded. Want to learn how to find and book speaking gigs? Get my Bangin' Blog Business Plan workbook for free. I help experts create and sell online courses. Get with the free program, will ya? The #1 marketing tactics of proven entrepreneurs delivered daily. Your free book is waiting. Make a full-time living doing what you love. These headlines are super clear, right? I could go through these really fast and you knew what they were about in a moment because they didn't leave room to be ambiguous. Many of these headlines use formulas. If you've looked ahead, there are a lot of formulas in your workbook, and you can use these to copy-paste your way to a great headline. Copy-paste copywriting is the secret of the success of many copywriters, including me. I'm a certified direct response copywriter, and I use formulas all the time. So the rest of this video gets into why use formulas. And so we're going to go ahead and skip that part. And I want to come over to these 10 websites. In the video, I highlighted the headline, but now I want to look at the calls to action. Take the quiz now. Subscribe to ProBlogger Plus. That's one of the calls to action. The other one is tell me more. If you look up in the upper right-hand corner, there's join our Facebook community. And above that is the ProBlogger podcast. Lots of calls to action here. For the Tim Ferriss Show, you can see the button, click to listen. Now, in addition to the calls to action on this page, which I'll put into the chat box, there's also lessons. Break the rules when it suits you. We're learning the rules now so that we know when to break them. Direct the top of your funnel to one destination. That's something Tim Ferriss does really well. He sends everybody the podcast. Join our online training is the button here. That's the top of his funnel. Everybody who joins the online training then gets segmented and gets offered. But this is the fast lane. If you make a fast lane for the customer avatar, then you can direct everybody into the same top of your funnel. Click here to sign up is Melissa Griffin's. Sign up for free training is David Siteman Garland's. He's also got this extra one down here, get my free cheat sheet. Focusing on the specific outcome that the audience wants. I like Derek Halpern because, you know, he's an internet marketer to the max. And so he only focuses on what works. And click to get free updates. It smells different than subscribe to my newsletter, but it's functionally the same thing. Sign up. It's about as basic as you can get, but it works. It's clear. It's got a big red button. And it's the one action that he wants people to take. Get the book. So what people are here for is to find the free book that's waiting. And you see how those support each other? Your free book is waiting, and get the book. The headline and the call to action are a matched set. The headline is the context for the action you want people to take. Make a full-time living doing what you love. You subscribe and you hit submit. I think this is probably the weakest one in the list. If you look really close, you could see that blue line. Sign up to learn these simple steps. That's the call to action, and it's so tiny in there, you can't really see it. So I've thrown a bunch of examples at you. What appealed to you? What didn't appeal to you?
I'm happy to jump in. The obvious. So when when I was able to picture what benefit I will be getting by clicking that button, like get the free book and all of that, then yeah, absolutely, it's it's something that is appealing. Yeah, that's pretty much the main takeaway.
Picture the benefit. You know what I appreciate about that so much, Moran? I'm reading a book right now called The New Comedy Writing. And it's by this comedy writer named Gene Perret, who's written for Bob Hope and Phyllis Diller and all these old comics. And at the end of his career, he said, how do you do comedy writing? And he wrote this great book. And he told me about why dad jokes and puns are seen as the lowest form of humor. And it's because they rely on linguistic wordplay. And they don't incorporate visuals. The best jokes make you visualize something. And when you said that the ones that you liked allowed you to picture the benefit, that visual evocation, I think there's something really powerful to that. Instead of rationally convincing you why you should do something, getting you to picture the benefit is a lot more powerful.
Yeah.
Patience, how about you? Did you notice anything that you liked or that you didn't like from any of those examples?
I felt that the headlines all had outcomes in them. So similar, I guess. There's outcomes, there's benefits, but I was seeing things like the outcomes there in some of them. And I felt that was really powerful, and it would say, get this now, because it's like, take this pill and it'll all be fine, kind of thing. So that's what I noticed. I also noticed the last one where you said that's the call to action. I thought that's interesting, because I thought that the bold one, I wasn't sure what the bold one was, whether it was the call to action or not. But you said, it shows, if people could definitely miss it. But I think the bold one was actually quite compelling enough for me to put in my name without seeing the call to action there. So
yeah, great insight. Yeah. All right, so now let's work on some headlines. What I'd like you to do is, now that you've gone through the warm-ups, and if you don't know how to navigate through the Google Doc, there's this button on the side that says Show Document Outline, where you can pop it open and you can click on any of the headlines or the headings on the side. And so we've already done some warm-ups. The copy swipe, we're going to skip. This is a place where you can paste headlines and subject lines from other competitors that could be useful to you, or you can write a list of your future headlines and subject lines here. But what I want to go to right now is these fill in the blank formulas. You can get these formulas back later by using the first link in the chat box, which I'll share with you at the end, so that if you want to get a fresh copy of this workbook, you can. But for right now, I want you to double click on some of these. Write the problem, write the outcome, write the time period, put in your lead magnet. Just do some double clicking and start working with the formulas to see if you can make a headline using these formulas that you like. You can also hit enter after any one of these to start a new line and replicate the formula. Do it 2 or 3 times. So I'll set a timer for 5 minutes, and then we'll come back for show and tell.
I really didn't get that, Caelan, unfortunately. I wasn't. I think it's 12 midnight here, so I don't think my brain is really... Yeah. So...
Okay, so I'd like you to scroll down to the point in the workbook that says headline formulas.
Okay, I've seen that.
Yeah. And you see how there's words in caps?
Yeah.
problem and outcome and lead magnet. If you double click on those, it'll highlight the entire word.
Yeah.
And while it's highlighted, I want you to replace it with your version. One of the outcomes from up above, go ahead and type it in. The title of your
Okay.
lead magnet, go ahead and type it in.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Great.
So hard.
Yeah, it's tough, right?
Seems so easy, but it's not.
Okay.
Skip the ones that stump you. See if you can find an easy one in there.
I think the key is really, from what I see here, is to get so clear on what you're selling. You know what I mean? Like, because all of these formulas, I go, well, hang on a second, because I do this and the program does that, and then I'm now confused. I think I need to go back and really break down the problems from the pain points, because now I understand the difference. So I have a list of 20, which is great, but they all bundled together. So I don't have clarity on what's the problem that I'm solving and what are the pain points. So I think I need to go back to that first and spell it out for myself. So then the formula is going to work. Because just trying to do the first 3, I go, well, am I selling career empowerment, or is it making more money, or is being more confident, and which one is the highest on the list?
You don't have to pick the right one. Right now, we're just getting volume. Just
Okay.
try one of them with one formula. Try another with another formula.
Okay, so I did, I've got that, but just to get each one of them and to nail it, it's it takes practice.
Yeah.
I really feel like I need to do that, like separating the problems from the pain points. Step number 1.
All right. All right, we've reached the end of our 5 minutes. Let's come back to reconnect. hitting this friction, this is the essential part of copywriting. Friction makes you sharp. It's when things get hard, you've identified, this is the piece where I need to work on. And so finding this, Moran, that the difference between the problems and the pain points and separating those, that's a clue to what needs to be developed in your marketing.
Yeah. Yeah.
The really bright clue. Formulas can be fun and they can be challenging because they force you to find the component pieces. And if you've been using a vague idea up until now, when you're trying to put that into the formula, it doesn't fit. Then you got to whittle down this idea to clarify it enough so that it can be used in a formula. And that whittling, that's the work. That's really what we're doing.
Yeah, I can see that.
Patience, how was this last exercise for you?
Yeah, it was interesting. I think it will be very useful. Yeah, I think it will be very useful.
Did anybody
to use for headlines?
Useful for headlines? Yeah, it sure is. Now we're putting this headline work together to make a context for the call to action. And so now let's talk about actions. What's the action we want someone to take? Is it picking up the phone and calling you? Is it clicking on a button? Is it filling out an application? Like, what's the best action that a future customer could take?
So I've got, with what I've done so far, I've got two. So the first one is I invite them to apply for my workshop, and the apply now button took them to a Google form with some basic questions. And then when I get the response, then I can contact them because I asked for email and phone number. The other thing is because I had no takers. I sent this in an email and nobody clicked on the form. So obviously something is also clear. The other thing is join the journey, which takes them to the same place.
Join the journey.
Yeah. So what I want is I just want to have an interest gauge, and then I'll reach out to them and have a conversation.
Great. I really like join the journey. That frames the call to action in the context of a larger experience. It's really nice. What about you, Patience? What kind of action are you wanting your new customers to take?
So when you say new customers, is it people? Well, sign up now is what I use for workshops, basically. Then, well, basically, that is my most overused one, I'll have to say. I don't use or download now, for example, is what if it's a lead magnet, I would be like download now or get it now, something like that. So that is what I tend to use, and it's all about getting them to either download a free resource or buy a ticket, or sign up for a free event that I'm having, something like that.
Great. Yeah, those are all very clear calls to action. I like them because it makes it really simple. It doesn't distract it with a lot of fluff. Because the headline can convince you why you're going to do something, but the call to action tells you how to do it, what it is that you're actually doing.
Can I ask a question? I tend to use a headline generator that scores my headlines to write my headlines, but it likes the word how at the beginning. If you put in the word how, you get the highest score. How to is always a big thing. So would you say that that is useful and does the same thing without you having to go through this process? I mean, this process is, for me, is great because you will do the thinking. You do the thinking first. So even when you, the final thing there, therefore, is just putting it in the headline generator. It means, I think it's helped to, using the headline generator has helped to increase my open rate, I guess, for my emails a bit more. So I don't get anything less than maybe, I don't know what percentage people say is great, but 20% and above or something like that. So I tend to use that. What would you say? Is that beneficial, or be careful of using headline generators?
Well, the neat thing about headline generators is that they're using a lot of data to score based on how similar your headline is to other headlines that they have open rates for. Okay. They can analyze the grammar and the length and the word composition and see, based on the vast amount of data we have in the past, you're likely going to score about this high. So I think as a data research tool, headline generators are fantastic. And what you've uncovered by starting with how, it illustrates a very fundamental copywriting principle, which is the A in that ADA formula: attention, interest, decision, action. And the attention is easy to grab if you open incomplete. How do you answer this question? The part of your mind that's already trying to figure out, how do you do that? You know, there was this great book written by Noah St. John's a while ago called Affirmations. And it's not affirmations, the positive self-talk that a lot of people talk about. He used something called affirmations with an O in the center, which is where you frame your affirmation in the form of a question. And he uncovered some really interesting research that found that when you use a question, your brain is already trying to figure out what the answer is just by framing it. And so it's a cheat, it's a hack to actually get a brain involved by asking a question. Does that make sense? Do you see how that happened when I said, did that make sense? It was a question that hooked you in so that you were like, wait, does it make sense? I have to compute this. So using questions and headlines is very powerful. I've even seen some calls to action using questions that have been really effective. Are you ready for this? Is a button call to action that you can use to make someone, it's kind of interrogative, like, oh my gosh, am I ready for this? You know? So yeah, that it's how is an easy way to get attention in a headline, because somebody's, well, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Great. All right, I've got one more set of examples to share with you. And then we're going to do our final exercise. Our final exercise is to add things to this button copy list right here. I've got a bunch of button copy formulas. These are proper calls to action. It's at the bottom of the list that we were just doing with the headline formulas, the subject line, the ad copy. Our next exercise is going to be adding things to the button copy formulas. And I'm going to want you to spend 5 minutes just writing calls to actions for your buttons. It might be things that we saw earlier that you remember that were effective. It might be things that you've developed in your thinking during this workshop, but this is what we're going to do next. And since we have similar business models, I'll share with you what I use on my coaching page. This is my standby call to action. Apply for a discovery call. I use this not just on this page, but also when I'm doing social promotions. Yesterday, I posted a tweet thread based on a conversation you and I had, Patience, where you said, is there a business model where I don't have to make sales calls? And so I wrote a thread on Twitter about the 3 models that don't require sales calls and what they are and how they look like. And then at the end of it, I posted a link to the page I just showed you for my coaching program. And right at the end is that same call to action. Apply for a discovery call. Because this is what I want people to do. I don't want them to read the page. I don't want them to call me. I don't want them to subscribe to my newsletter. I don't want them to think about things. I want them to apply. Because if they take that one action, they're in my funnel. I have their contact information. They've signaled that they're interested. So you can just use that. I encourage you to write that down as one of your ideas. Apply for a discovery call, or apply to join my program. You can iterate on this many times. And that's what we're going to do during this last 5-minute writing session. I want you to fill this list as far as you can with as many variations as you can. Sound good? All right, let's do it. Right, we're just about done. All right. So that was a Spotify playlist.
Oh, we should have mentioned to you that we couldn't hear the music.
Ah!
Sorry. Yeah, the first time we did, but this after the
I
second
didn't hear a single thing.
Yeah, me neither. Sorry.
I didn't know you were playing any music.
I'm going to give you a link to a great Spotify playlist that I've been listening to.
Nice.
I thought I was fixing tech issues by not using my timer on my side monitor, but so my apologies for the technical difficulties. So how did that last exercise go?
Good.
Yeah?
That's
Anybody
okay.
want to share a good call to action that they've written?
I wrote, I guess you know one of my words is empowered. So I wrote feel empowered today. So I don't know.
Feel empowered.
Make courageous moves. Make courageous moves today.
Nice.
Align your business now.
Align your business now.
So things like that.
Oh,
They all have keywords that I use, but I don't know whether that's correct to do it that way. So align your business today, because my blueprint or my program is called the Aligned Introvert Method.
Mhm.
So basically, that sounds like a good call to action to say align your business now.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if it's too long for the call to action, it would make a great headline. Align your business now. I mean, right at the top of the page or at the top of the brochure, it really speaks to what it is people get.
Yeah.
If you wanted to distill it into a button length, get
Yeah.
aligned.
Yeah, get aligned. Okay.
Yeah. Great work, Patience. Yeah. Moran, how about you? What did you write?
So the one that I used in my, yesterday I sent out a newsletter which had a typo in the first line. Duh. It's up level your career and increase your earning power in 5 weeks.
Great.
That's and so this is the title of the program, and I'm just missing a very simple call to action, which is the one that I probably will use is join the journey, because what I'm saying is it is a 5-week journey for to career empowerment.
Mm-hmm. Join the journey is great. I really like that. It's vague enough that I don't know really what that would mean. Clicking a button that says join the journey. Am I filling out a form? Am I getting on a phone call? Am I reviewing material? But that vagueness, I think, can work in your favor. Yeah. Because it's like that open loop we were discussing earlier when you use how at the beginning of your headline. What does this mean that I joined the journey? It kind of creates this incentive to want to discover more.
I could use the apply now, and then it gives clarity on the application form. Or the other thing that I thought about was ask me for details. That sounds very boring. I am targeting women, so don't mind using a feminine-like more language if there's anything as such. But yeah, ask me for details is clear.
Ask me for details is clear, but it's also kind of boring.
Yeah.
Find out more kind of does the same thing, but keep digging on it. There's like if you just went with join the journey, I think that's compelling enough that it would be really solid to go with. But one of the great things about doing these exercises is that you can just keep drilling down. Come back to this workbook and add more items to the bullet lists, because the more that you dig, the more that you'll discover.
Yeah.
All right, well, we have reached the end of our 90-minute workshop. I really want to thank you both for spending this time with me today. Is there any closing thoughts or insights that you'd like to share?
Technically, well, actually, it's very specific, so I don't know if we have time or if you open for this kind of questions.
I'm happy to stay a few minutes over and chat for a while. And patience, if you have to skedaddle, I know it's totally late. And if you want to bug out, that's fine. But if you'd like to stay and converse with us for a few minutes, and that would be great too.
Carry on, I'm listening.
Great.
You were asking a question?
Yeah.
So, Caelan, my question is, how do I add a button? So what's on my plate for today is sending out a Facebook post, which is where my audience is. And, at the end, I want them to do something. How do I do it on Facebook? Do I just link to a web page or something like that, or link to Google Docs? But then it looks funny because it gives you the whole long, link. What do you do?
Well, social media platforms deprecate any posts that link off the platform. So if you make a post and it says, hey, go over here, Facebook's like, I don't want people leaving. We're going to keep them here. So the easy solution is to use a photo post, especially if it's got a photo of you, because the algorithm is going to rank that higher. And then in the first comment, make the link.
Right. So a photo, and then in the first, yep. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, I've seen you do that.
Yeah,
awesome.
I do that all the time. Yeah, and it's because the algorithm penalizes me if I link off the platform in the post. But if I do it in the first comment, like LinkedIn has gotten wise to it. It doesn't work on LinkedIn as well anymore. But Facebook, to my knowledge, it's still a pretty nice way to get around that.
Beautiful.
That's interesting, because I was thinking, I don't think it works on LinkedIn anymore, because that's what I do on all platforms. But it feels like LinkedIn penalizes you because it knows there's a link somewhere. So it's more like, I'm not sure why they're doing that, because you want people to, I guess most people there now are lots of business people. It's very strange that they would not let even that slide. I'm surprised.
Yeah, well, they want to prioritize their own news feed. And so anything that gets people to use their product, they're going to think, hey, this is great. So one of the things that's worked really well on Instagram, where you can't link either in comments or in a post, like there's nothing clickable on Instagram. So what's become very popular over there is DM me for more.
Yeah.
That's the Instagram.
Yeah, I started seeing that. Yeah. I started seeing that. I was thinking about the Google document. I know that there is with the forms, don't you have like a shorten the link, isn't it? Or you use Bitly or something to shorten a link, because Google has big document link. Yeah. But if you use, if you click on settings or something, it gives you a shorter link. Yeah.
Oh, in the Google Doc it does.
Yeah.
Oh, neat. I never knew that.
Yeah, so it, like the forms or whatever, when you get to where, like, send. So if you click on send in Google, it will offer you an opportunity to either use a link or send by email. So that link, you can also shorten it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and then use that in your post or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. But I guess for me, you were asking in terms of how I feel about this. I think one of the things, even for my clients, that they want is formulas. This is not easy to get your head around, but it needs practice. So, and it needs really pushing yourself to sit and do it. Thinking about in terms of the final outcome and benefit to you is clarity. Where you can't, many times people don't want to do the work that results in clarity. But I think what this does, the way it's broken down, is to give you that clarity that you need. Not everybody, once I hear the word copyright, I kind of, because I just think I'm not a copywriter. Nobody should push me to be a copywriter. But I can see the benefit of just a few things, putting more thought into a few things can make all the difference in the world. And I could see how just those 10 examples, even for me, how I would react if it came in front of me and it was something that immediately met the pain point that I had, I would click on it. So that's psychology behind it.
Yeah, observing that is so helpful, because that's the reaction that we want to tune for our audience. We want them to look at our call to action and have the right reaction, not, I don't like that, like you might have felt in some of those examples. Some of the other examples might make you think, oh, I'm drawn in, I want to get closer to this. And that's what we want to create for our audience, is that intrigue that makes them want to know more and makes them want to take action.
I guess I'm just thinking of the word I used to hear Russell Brunson use. Is it Russell Brunson? Disruptive marketing. So it stops you and you disrupt people's scrolling, mindless scrolling, because it catches their attention. And they kind of, so it sounds like one doing their work on an emotive level where people can connect, can make all the difference in the world.
Right. Yeah. And that interruption is the work of copywriting. I'm going to share one more link with you here in the chat box. And then I'm going to remind you to download the chat box so that you have all of these links. And this final link is a tag for my blog, where for every year I've been making a note for the best subject lines that hit my inbox. And you can just scroll through this and there's more than 500 in there. And so if you're looking for inspiration on headlines, I do this every year. So now it's like I've just got this archive, and feel free to scroll through and notice your reaction. You know, something that makes you go, ooh, wow, I really want to know more. That might be a good candidate for your swipe file. You can copy subject lines off of here and paste them into your Google Doc as inspiration.
Thank you. That's useful.
You bet. So to save the chat, there's those 3 buttons on the right side of the chat window, and if you click that, you'll get to save chat. I'll also send you the a text file with the chat plus the recording on Monday.
Wonderful. Caelan, thank you so much. It was wonderful to spend the morning with you too. So thank you for that. And I'm going to work on my call to action, because my post is scheduled for tonight. So I better have something decent in there.
Great. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Cool. Thanks. Nice to meet you, Patience.
You too. Thank you. Thank you.
Both.
Bye.
Have fun out there.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.